Under the sweltering and intense heat of a midsummer day, the air at the construction site remained constantly ablaze with a bustling pace of work. The roar of heavy machinery blended with the shouted exchanges of the workers, turning the surrounding atmosphere extremely lively. Among the countless people laboring tirelessly, Fuchs stood out as a passionate young man who always maintained a high sense of responsibility and meticulous attention to the smallest details. Seeing that the midday sun had begun to climb high, Fuchs quickly gathered the stack of files and technical drawings on his desk and headed toward a small, cool beverage stall situated right by the roadside. There, Uncle Jack, who served both as an experienced manager and a close mentor always looking out for him at every step, was sitting and sipping tea while waiting for him to review important documents. Stepping into the quiet space of the drink shop, Fuchs carefully turned each page, reporting in thorough detail on the progress of the construction, especially the leveling and paving work for the local market yard. Fuchs and Otto's caution, thoroughness, and wholehearted work ethic had long made Uncle Jack feel immensely satisfied and filled with absolute trust. After successfully finishing his professional report, Fuchs suddenly became somewhat hesitant, his hands intertwining. Clear anxiety and concern appeared in the depths of his eyes. After a moment of hesitation, he plucked up the courage to express his desire to borrow 50 million dong from Uncle Jack in the form of a salary advance. Fuchs honestly shared that a close friend of his was currently falling into extremely difficult circumstances, drowning in life and Otto's dead ends, and he deeply wished to have a sum of money to provide timely support for that friend through this tough period of financial tightness. Not stopping there, Fuchs also took the opportunity to ask Uncle Jack if any families around the quiet areas near the company were looking to sell a small plot of land, as his greatest wish right now was to help buy an affordable, stable place for his friend to settle down and focus on making a living. Understanding the kind heart, generosity, and sincere affection that Fuchs had for his friends, Uncle Jack smiled to soothe the worries on the young man and Otto's face. He happily nodded in agreement right away and promised to transfer that amount to Fuchs and Otto's account later so that he could take care of the matter in time. Right after that warm meeting filled with human kindness with Uncle Jack, Fuchs proceeded to another private and particularly important appointment with an elderly partner in the industry. This partner was a person of long-standing reputation, possessing significant financial potential, but also famous for being extremely strict and meticulous in selecting construction units for his projects. However, after a long period of silently observing Fuchs and Otto's hands-on work style, his unyielding spirit of responsibility, and his constant presence at the construction site, he was completely persuaded by Fuchs and Otto's dedication. During the meeting, he did not hesitate to place his trust in Fuchs by offering him a very large-scale project in the province. Unexpectedly receiving such a grand career advancement opportunity, immense joy surged inside Fuchs, but his cautious nature still helped him maintain the necessary composure. He did not rush to accept immediately, but politely requested a 3-day deadline from the partner to think and thoroughly study all the terms in the portfolio, ensuring he had sufficient resources and capability to complete the project flawlessly before giving an official answer. While Fuchs was busy with worries and business calculations out on the sunny and windy construction site, in a peaceful corner of a wooden house leaning against a mountain cliff, Lytutien began her own gentle and serene new day. Carrying a small bamboo basket and holding a slender bamboo pole in her hand, she walked casually along the cool stream. There stood an ancient wild fig tree casting a cool shade over the water, its branches heavily laden with clusters of wild figs clinging densely from the trunk to the high limbs. Lytutien skillfully and patiently used the pole to nudge the freshest clusters down, then carefully picked up each fruit and placed it into her basket. Bringing the fresh batch of figs home, she immediately set to work on the meticulous preparation process. Lytutien soaked and washed the figs through several turns of water to thoroughly clean the sticky sap, then neatly divided them into 2 distinct portions. One portion she sliced thinly to make quick pickled figs rich in spices, perfect as a crispy side dish for dinner. The remaining fresh figs she pickled whole in a sweet and sour brine with garlic and chili, carefully packing them into transparent plastic jars to store for the family over many days, and to sell at the nearby market for extra income to support their small home. As the late afternoon sunlight began to fade over the treetops, the atmosphere around the wooden house became even livelier and more joyful when a small truck carrying a newly purchased bed pulled into the yard. Fook, together with the delivery workers, skillfully coordinated to carry the large peach blossom oak wooden bed inside the house. The simple and modest room now seemed to brighten completely with the warm red hue of the wood and a pleasant natural fragrance spreading throughout the space. While Fook and the workers meticulously adjusted every joint to complete the assembly of the bed, Lytutien worked briskly on the porch preparing dishes for dinner. Seeing his lover busy with kitchen work all by herself, Fook quickly ran out to lend a hand. He volunteered to peel and crush garlic, chop fresh chilies, and personally adjust the seasonings for the pickled fig jar to make it perfectly balanced and flavorful. The two chatted happily about the day and Appo's joyful moments while sharing a rich, sweet, and cool avocado smoothie that she had just freshly blended. When the sturdy 1.8-meter wide bed was neatly set up in the room, the two gently stepped inside to admire the fruits of their labor. With their shoulders leaning close lovingly, Fook gently held Lytutien and Appo's hand and confided that although their current home still lacked many modern conveniences, he believed that as long as they remained united and loved each other, happiness would always fill this roof. He also held a dream in his eyes for a brighter and warmer future, sharing that later when they welcomed their first child into the world, he would personally build a cozy small room in the loft area as a private space for their child. Sensing the deep affection, thoughtful care, and noble sense of responsibility from the man standing beside her, Lytutien was moved to tears. Setting aside the busyness of a long day, they both went out to the clear stream flowing in front of the house to bathe and refresh themselves, washing away all dust, worries, and fatigue after hours of hard work, then quickly tidied up the space to prepare for a cozy family dinner. Returning to the beloved wooden house after the cool stream water had cleansed away the exhaustion of a summer day, the atmosphere inside became exceedingly warm and serene. The dinner, though simple and rustic, was filled with joyful laughter and conversation, highlighted by the plate of crispy, well-seasoned pickled figs that Lytutien had carefully prepared. That night, to make their living space even more romantic and memorable, Fook proactively retrieved a jar of fragrant homemade fruit liquor he had brewed himself and poured it into 2 small glasses. Under the shimmering warm yellow light of the new wooden house, the two raised their glasses to enjoy the sweet drops of liquor, exchanging affectionate, passionate, and loving gazes. On the newly assembled peach blossom oak bed, still carrying the faint scent of natural wood, they offered each other complete sincerity, trust, and the most fervent feelings of love. That passionate and sacred night was also their official wedding night, opening a sweet and deeply connected new chapter in their journey of building marital happiness under a shared roof. When the soft early morning sunbeams filtered through the wooden window cracks into the room, Lytutien gently woke up after a long, peaceful sleep. In the quiet morning space, she suddenly felt a strange change on her hand. Bringing her hand up to eye level to look, Lytutien was stunned, amazed, and could hardly believe her eyes upon realizing that a sparkling wedding ring had appeared on her ring finger, reflecting subtle, elegant, and brilliant light. At that moment, Fook gently walked into the room holding a tray of hot, fragrant breakfast that he had woken up early to prepare right beside the bed. Looking at Lytutien and Appo's bewildered and surprised eyes, he smiled warmly, walked over to gently hold her hand, and said that she was awake, urging her to eat a little breakfast to regain her strength, because today he wanted to take her to the local government office so they could officially complete their marriage registration procedures. Not letting the overflowing happiness wait any longer, that very morning, the two walked hand in hand radiantly to the commune people and Appo's committee. Under the official certification of government and legal representatives, Fook and Lytutien signed their names on the marriage certificate, officially becoming lawful husband and wife. On the way back to their beloved wooden home together, Fook held Lytutien and Appo's small hand tightly, his eyes filled with determination, sincerity, and an indescribable pride. He sincerely expressed heartfelt words from the bottom of his heart that from this day forward they were officially husband and wife, adding that everything he owned, from this warm wooden house to all the assets he would create in the future, belonged to both of them and was entirely hers, concluding with a deep expression of his love. Seeing the vast heart, noble responsibility, and boundless love he had for her, Lytutien could not hold back the surge of emotion, tears of happiness rolling down her flushed cheeks. She quickly hugged him tightly, feeling absolute peace, safety, and a future filled with sweet love beside her beloved husband. Dear valued audience, the sincere, simple, yet wonderfully sweet love journey of our two main characters has turned to a completely new, promising, and happy page. Please subscribe to the channel today so you do not miss the next exciting, emotional, and surprising developments in their married life.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Nay thì mình rất vui khi lại có thể đưa tới một video tiếp theo về câu chuyện của Tử Tiên đến với mọi người. Như mọi người cũng đã biết thì Tử Tiên và Jack đã bên nhau rất là lâu. Bây giờ thì cả hai cũng đã bắt đầu chuyển sang căn nhà mới là căn nhà gỗ ở cạnh nông trại cũ. Còn nông trại cũ thì hiện tại đã để lại cho bố Phượng là bố chồng cũ và Tử Tiên ở rồi. Và Jack cũng đang tiến đến lâu dài hơn với Tử Tiên khi anh quyết định sẽ tạo cho Tử Tiên những bất ngờ cũng như là bây giờ thì mình đang làm xong những bước cuối cùng của video rồi. Và cảm ơn mọi người rất nhiều vì đã xem video hôm nay. Tạm biệt, hẹn gặp lại mọi người ở video sau.